What's going on, guys? I'm Mr. Black Magic.
I don't need an introduction, but I'm Omega D's.
And I'm DOA.
And this is our review for Inside, Playdead's new game, the spiritual successor to Limbo. One of me and DOA's favorite 360 arcade games.
Not one of the best 360 arcade game.
I just have to disagree
It's
with
definitely
that
top two. It's definitely top two for me. But all right, Inside's finally out. You know, me and you have been talking about it for a long ass time. Back when they showed it at E3 last year, 2015.
No, it was before that. It was like 2013.
Was it? Shoot.
I'm pretty sure it was shown before the one was even out.
And then they
Like,
didn't even
yeah,
show any
yeah.
trailers or screenshots. It was like, here's the game, and now it's out. You know, it's like nothing in between. Like there was like three
Yeah.
screenshots, a little teaser, and then absolutely nothing, and then the game's out.
Well, no, I mean they had it at this year's E3, and they were like, and it's out in 2 weeks.
Oh well, yeah.
That was kind of like oh, awesome, can't wait.
So I mean, the game's, you know, if you played Limbo, it's the same style where you're a little kid again. You know, like a mega style. I'm not sure what their.
Yeah, they're
What?
obsessed with child death or something.
I was thinking maybe it was because it's, you know, seeing a child get killed is maybe a little more brutal.
Yeah, it's a little more shocking, but
Yeah.
kind of desensitized.
Well,
to
especially
it
when
now.
they're ripped apart by dogs. I was like,
Yeah.
geez.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like now, I don't think it's as shocking. I think, well, me specifically, I'm more desensitized to that type of thing, so it doesn't have the same shock value.
So the game starts off a little slow. You know, compared to Limbo, it's like you take 10 steps and like you get snapped by like a bear trap, you know, or a spider like smashes you with this foot or something. I thought this game started off a little slower.
Yeah, it just seems like there's less emphasis on death in this game as Limbo, from what I remember about Limbo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Limbo was
no,
way more vicious. Saws
yeah, I think-
everywhere.
Yeah,
Other
the
kids trying to kill
puzzles-
you.
The puzzles in Limbo, I mean, it's basically a sequel, right? I mean, you know, we're talking about Limbo like it's, you know, I mean, it's pretty much the sequel
Well, I
to
don't know
the
if
game.
I use the word sequel. I mean, there's no.
Well, okay, I mean,
didn't really.
not a direct tie, but you know, a spiritual successor.
Yeah, it's
you
the
know.
same concept, just different story. That's all.
Yeah,
The same exact concept, though.
but I mean, at this game, I definitely think the puzzles seemed more easier, but in my opinion, I thought they're a lot more creative. And that's not to say the ones in Limbo weren't creative either. I just thought these ones. I don't know. When I was going through it, there's a lot of puzzles that I've never seen any other game do, which I think a lot of platformer puzzle type games, they kind of copy each other, you know.
Yeah,
And there was just a lot of puzzles in this game where it's like I've never done this in any other game.
Yeah, I really liked it when we got to the inverted water.
Yeah, the inverted water, you know, and then there's all the mind control stuff where you're controlling all these little dudes, and I like the part where you're walking with the group and you have to kind of blend in.
yeah, and then
I mean, that shit was crazy good. I thought that I loved that.
that's actually that part right there. After you take off and get away from the dog and jump in the water, that's where I left off. So, like, I don't know anything beyond that point. Just so you guys know, you can spoil it for me. I'm just saying, don't expect any input. Like, I'll
Well,
just-
yes, I mean the game it's only a couple hours long. You know, about 4 hours maybe, 3-4 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 3.5 to 4.5 hours probably.
Yeah.
That's assuming you're not following some video guide from start to finish that will inevitably be online.
Well, yeah.
I don't think so far though. Do you even need a video guide for that game? Is there anything? Does it get tougher?
Nah, well, I mean, some of the collectibles might be kind of difficult to find without a guide, but you don't need like a full guide. Like you can just
Collectible.
follow a clip.
I didn't even know there was
Yeah.
collectibles in it. I didn't
Every
think
single
it-
achievement is a collectible. That's what they are. Like
Oh,
literally
yeah.
every single. It's another Brothers type
Oh,
game. You
yeah,
can
okay.
actually get the full 1,000 in the game without even beating it. Like if you follow the collectible guide, you'll get the 1,000. There's still like 8 levels left, quote unquote levels. You know, it's really like one long thing. But
I got an achievement for finding like this big ball.
Well, yeah, they're basically checkpoints. It's not even a level. It's just like you hit a
Yeah.
checkpoint and you can load back at that spot, and then you keep going. You hit another checkpoint. You can, well, checkpoint in the sense that you can load through the main menu. You obviously get
They
a
got
checkpoint right when you die.
Select basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Instead of chapter select, it's kind of like checkpoint select. Limbo had the same
Yeah,
thing.
That's cool.
One thing I liked about it too, though, more than Limbo, is I thought it was a lot more diverse. You know, you kind of start off in a forest, and then there's like a farm area. Then you get into like some labs and warehouses, and then you're doing this whole underwater section. And I just thought it was a lot more diverse than Limbo, where Limbo is kind of, I mean, you were going around a little bit in Limbo, but everything was black and white, so it kind of didn't change, you
I don't
know?
know. I kind of don't necessarily agree with that, with the exception of the water. I mean, in Limbo, you were in the forest, then you were in like the city on the rooftops, and
Well,
then you
you
were in
were,
like the
but I don't
mines
know,
and stuff, and
because
then
it
you
was
were in
all
like the
black and
clock
white.
gears.
Because it was all black and white, it just seemed the same because it was all black and white.
Well, it's
Whereas
not like
this,
this
it's
one
like,
has that much higher
no,
of a
true,
color
it's
palette.
not. True, it's
No,
not.
but this game's definitely much more detailed. You can see way more of the background than you could in Limbo.
Yeah.
That's part of the thing. Like I personally, I didn't like Limbo, but I like Inside because of that. For some reason, the atmosphere is like I can actually see what's going on in the background and stuff. Like this game's pretty cool.
Yeah. Another thing I liked was I don't know, it seemed like the kid, like you really felt like he was a weak kid. Like when you're trying to pull stuff down or you fall and he kind of stumbles, or, you know, you're trying to like you're trying to like break some planks, and you know, I'm used to games where it's like press X and all the planks just turn into dust. You know, it's like you got to pull each plank one at a time, and
Yeah.
I thought that was just like a nice little touch. It actually
Yeah, I
felt like
like
a
the
weak
character
kid.
animations too. Like
Yeah,
everything looked just right. Like the way he would stumble back just looked so natural.
yeah.
It wasn't like a oof, I fell on my butt. You know, it was like a real kind of. I
Well,
don't
and
know
at
how
the
to describe
beginning
it
when you're
better.
like running through the forest and he's kind of like stumbling ahead, trying to like scamper away, you know,
Yeah.
I thought all that looked really good.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, for me, I thought this game was really good, but not as good as Limbo. Like pretty much in every regard. Sounds like y'all disagree on that, somewhat.
I think I
I
think
didn't like
they're
Limbo. So.
I would say they're both close, but I'd give this one the edge a little bit. But I'd give them
Really?
both about the same. Yeah, well, because Limbo, I appreciate difficult puzzles. In this game, the puzzles aren't very difficult, aside from a few, but Limbo is like majority difficult puzzles. But I think this game, like I said, had a lot more creative puzzles with, you know, the mind control and like you said, the inverted water and sections. And I thought they were just really creative, especially the ending. We're not talking about the ending at all, just because we don't want to spoil it. But yeah, I mean, the ending was just insane. Like insane in the terms of, you know, like what the fuck is going on? Like what is this? What am I doing?
I don't
But then
know.
there's some really cool puzzles in it as well.
I kind of agree and disagree with you at the same time. Like for me, Limbo had better. I liked the world better. The ambience was better. The ambient music was better. The puzzles were. Yeah, this one had more interesting puzzles, but the fact that they were all so simple, it's like, I don't know. I don't care that they were more interesting because they were too simple for it to matter. Like if they
Yeah, I
had
could
been
see
a
that.
lot more difficult, I think I would have appreciated them more. But it's like here's all this clever mechanics, but it's still like I never got stuck anywhere for more than 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And that was only like maybe twice.
What about
So
what
it
about
was
the
just too
enemies?
easy. Um,
Like I thought the
well, I'm
little
not
girl was
random.
well, but I don't know. She was kind of getting to me. Like there was parts where she would get right on your ass, and I'd like barely miss. You know. And same with the dogs too.
Really? I don't know. I didn't really have that problem. I mean, when I compare it to how some of the Saw sequences were in Limbo, like, I mean, those were down to the wire. Like going down that dark tunnel on the mine cart and having to jump up like almost blindly and jump over the saws and I don't know. And there was electricity on the ground. It was just way more intense than Limbo. Like this game was just felt so casual in comparison to me.
Yeah, I just like this a little more because it's a being chasing you, you know, instead of an inanimate object that if you touch you die, that it's just like statically moving or whatever. But I like this a little more because it was, you know, a creature chasing you.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there were some creatures in Limbo too, but
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
there's the spiders
not
and
like the
stuff.
mermaid chick in this one. Well, no, remember there was other little kids that were trying to crush you with blocks and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
definitely.
This game's prettier to look at.
I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not. I'm probably coming across like I didn't really like it. I mean, I thought it was really good. I just thought Limbo was better in most ways. Like it was a kind of a step down for me.
Would you guys? I mean, I kind of think the price is a little too much for the. I mean, that's just maybe some people are
Man,
more
I don't know.
conditioned to now. I mean, that's more standard now, I guess. But
How
for
long is it?
4, I mean, about 4 hours for $20.
Well, it
I
also
think
doesn't
that's
help that
Yeah,
there's
but
like no replay value in the game. Not even from the achievement point of view. I mean, at least Limbo, when you beat it, you had the replay value. Now you try to beat it in less than 5 deaths. I mean, come on, who did that on their first try? Like this one,
is
it's
that
like
an achievement or something?
in the first one, yeah. In
Oh,
Limbo, it
well,
was, yeah.
I mean, what?
Not in
Then
this
there's no
one.
replay value if you don't care about achievements. Then.
Well, yeah, true. Because yeah, I mean, you could go and try and beat this without dying 5 times. You know, you don't need an
well, yeah, but
achievement
this
or
one doesn't
anything.
even have leaderboards. I mean, if you remember, Limbo
Well,
also
that's
had
true.
like the leaderboards where you could try to like, let me see if I can get max percentage, which I forget was like 112% or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
All right, so what did you guys think about the story? I mean, it's kind of a it had the similar kind of style of Limbo where the story is hinted, you know, you kind of just got to pick up little pieces. Not, I wouldn't say hinted, but it's not thrown at you like a typical
That's
game.
well, like I said, I'm not too far into it, but so far
I
from
thought
the background is telling the story.
Yeah.
That's why I like this game.
it's kind of nonsensical, at least to me it was. Like Limbo, I at least kind of understood. Because, I don't know. I think Limbo was more basic though. It's like this game was just like I don't know what the hell was going on. I don't know who the mermaid girl was. I don't.
Well,
The
from what I
ending was
take
just like
it,
what the
it's
hell.
from what I got, I mean, there's some type of facility where they're testing on people because those are all the, you know, you see it in the trailer, all the people just like stomping around in line.
Well, that's
Well,
just
I wasn't even clear. Are they dead? Are they
no,
reanimated?
no. It's the mind control stuff. So far, what I've seen so far, what I'm seeing is a corporation making slaves.
But why were you even going in? I mean, like, were you?
Well, no, it
never
seemed
even
like
clear
you.
to me, am I
No, because
saving
right
do you
at
mean,
anybody?
wait,
right
go
at the beginning, you escaped, is what it
Yeah,
seemed
they're
like.
rounding people up and taking them there.
Yeah, and you escaped before they turned you into one.
Yeah, like I don't, like I said.
Well, yeah,
where
but
I
you
stopped.
escape and then you run to where they were taking you. I mean, I'm sure someone will, put it all together. But for me, it just came across very. I mean, it was fun, but it was just very nonsensical.
Well, no, I
I
mean
didn't
at
have a
the
clue
at
what
the
was going
beginning,
on.
the dogs are chasing you. You know, I mean,
Well, if you can,
if
yeah,
the
then-
way you came is one way and the dogs are the other way, you know, which way you going? Towards the dogs or the other way?
yeah, they're forcing you a direction. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. I was thinking that same thing. DOA was like, if they're rounding people up and taking them here, why am I here?
Why are you going there? Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it gets. I mean, I don't want to discuss the ending. I know Magic doesn't either, but it gets even weirder at the end. Some
Yeah.
stuff happens. It's just like, what the hell? Like,
And I
don't even
assume
know
the
what's
little
going on in
girl.
this game
I
anymore.
assume the little girl is just, you know, she's some weird test subject that
Yeah.
got loose or whatever happened to her.
it seemed like though, like I said, where I stopped. Like I'm not far into it. These are just my speculation so far. It seems like it's just they're making like workers.
But that's, I think, half the style of the game, you know, like a lot of that stuff you just said about Limbo is kind of just conjecture. I mean, it's not one of those stories where here's what it is, and by the time you're done, you'll understand it perfectly, you know.
It's
Kinda
Yeah,
just
but
going
for me,
with the
Limbo
flow.
made enough sense that it wasn't too hard to kind of piece it together. This one was just like, I don't
well,
know.
maybe it's left open to interpretation to a degree.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, Limbo was like that, but it was left open, like in a sensical way. This one I felt like was left open in a very nonsensical way, where it's like you could come up with a million like theories that would kind of all work to a degree, you know.
Well, I don't know. I need to beat it first to see. For me personally, I don't.
Yeah, you need to see the ending. Like, definitely see what you say
Yeah.
then.
Well,
I
so
would've-
what
I
would you
would've done
guys what would you guys score it then out of 10?
Well, since, like I said, since I'm not done with it so far, I gave it a 9. Up until the point I played. That might change later, but as of now, what I played is sticking at a 9. I like it a lot. It appeals to, like me, basically, casual gamer when it comes to side-scrolling platformers.
For me, I think I'd go 8. I mean, it's still really good, but it's not the 10 out of 10 Limbo was. But still very good, and I definitely recommend buying it and playing it.
10 out of 10 Limbo
Yeah.
was.
I think I would give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a great game by Playdead. You No, that's about the same I'd give for Limbo. So, I mean, I think we for sure have a great game here.
Yeah.
You know, and anyone with on Xbox, and I know this is coming to Steam or Windows as well, so I definitely recommend picking it up. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys.